The Federal Ministry of Science and Technology is charged with the responsibility of facilitating the development and deployment of science and technology apparatus to enhance the pace of socio-economic development of the country. My guest on this week's episode of the program looks at science, technology and innovation. Welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Ibrahim Adra. Robbing passengers in commercial vehicles is a criminal act known as one chance, and its growing threat in the nation's capital is noticeable. We feature the account of some victims in the FCT in Focus segment. We will also conclude our conversation with the Minister of State for Science and Technology. But first, here are the stories that made the headline within the week in the nation's capital.
The Supreme Court upheld the election of 6 state governors. They include Governor Umar Ganduje of Kano State, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State, Governor Amadu Fintiri of Adamawa State, and Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State. In the meantime, the leadership of the People's Democratic Party took to the streets to demand for a review of the Supreme Court judgment which nullified the election of Emeka Ihedioha as the governor of Imo State. The court had announced Senator Hope Uzodimma as the newly elected governor of the state.
I'm appealing to the judiciary who they have supported. Please, save this country. What happened in Imo State is enough to kill our democracy. Yes. Please save this country. Let us ensure that judiciary becomes the last hope of the common man by doing what is right. I appeal to APC. Please do not kill this democracy.
In the health sector, the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria has advised passengers and airport users to submit themselves for routine quarantine checks whenever they're asked at the nation's airports. In a statement, the Airport Authority said this is aimed at preventing the coronavirus epidemic, which has killed 6 people in China, from spreading to Nigeria. Meanwhile, the National Economic Council has advised Nigerians to be wary of the symptoms of the coronavirus found in Wuhan, China. Briefing State House correspondents after the first NEC meeting for 2020, chaired by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Governor Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State said the Minister of Health briefed the council on the coronavirus, Lassa fever, polio eradication, and other health concerns. The meeting also discussed other issues, including the state of the power sector, as well as the plan to borrow 2 trillion naira from the current 10 trillion naira pension funds to finance the development of infrastructure.
The minister also reported on the issue of coronavirus, the one that was found in Wuhan in China, and that there is already fear of spread to the border of at least 4 countries, USA, Thailand, Japan, and Korea. And it made us know, so it's for the public now to know, what are the symptoms of coronavirus. It's common cold, catarrh, headache, and fever. We are informed that Lassa fever is not a killer disease. It is treatable. All you need for Lassa fever, which is now prevalent in the states we mentioned, is for you to show on time. It is clear from the minister's briefing that Nigeria is on course to be polio-free, or have polio-free certification by June 2020.
The federal government and governors of the southwest states have agreed that necessary legal instruments will be put in place by each of the states to give legal backing to the initiative and address all issues concerning the regulation of the security structure on the establishment of the regional security outfit AMOTEKUN. The Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, met with the Southwest governors and the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Abubakar Malami, as well as the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu.
We are going to have the legal framework to back this AMOTEKUN, and this legal framework is going to be one in which all of us will look at, and we'll be sure that it goes without any hindrance. You know, the federal government is starting community policing, and it's more of, in essence, really, it's about community policing. So we're going to work together and see the community policing and AMOTEKUN work in a way.
Nigeria is now ranked 146 out of the 180 countries on the 2019 Corruption Perception Index published by Transparency International, having dropped 2 places. According to the report released this week, the country scored 26 out of 100 points, dropping from the 27 points that it has maintained since 2017. But the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission believes the exercise was baseless and appalling.
Index is 100% impartial, objective, globally well respected. The negative result from this year provoked cautions. Despite proclaimed war on corruption, why is Nigeria perceived by Nigerians and the international community still as very corrupt? The government of Nigeria claims winning the war on corruption, but is this statement backed by evidence? Anti-corruption stands the greatest chance of victory where there is a collective action of citizens against corruption and strong collaboration between state and non-state actors.
The federal government has arraigned former Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Mohammed Adoke, on 42 counts of fraud and money laundering. Mr. Adoke was arraigned at the Gwagwalada Division of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, alongside 6 others. But they all pleaded not guilty to the 42 counts of fraud and money laundering.
I have never been discouraged.
Following the recent killing of Reverend Lawan Andimi by Boko Haram terrorists, the Christian Association of Nigeria has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to sack all his security chiefs. The president of the association, Dr. Samson Ayokunle, told a news conference that the service chiefs are not living up to the expectations of the government. The association declared a 3-day fasting and prayer session as one of the ways of addressing the ugly trend.
The candidacy are declared Friday, 31st January to 2nd February 2020 are days for special fasting and prayer for Nigeria in all churches, home and abroad. For the gruesome killing of innocent Nigerians to stop and for our government to develop capacity to overcome the criminals troubling the nation. Sunday, 2nd February 2020 is declared a day of special prayer walk by all Christians in all the states of the Federation in the form of a procession to be led by the state chairmen in their council secretariats and pastors of churches in all churches in Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to Nigeria from the UK Africa Investment Summit 2020, which held in London from the 17th of January. He was received at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by his Chief of Staff, the FCT Minister, the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of the Department of State Services, as well as other government officials. During the trip, the President met with the British Prime Minister, Mr. Boris Johnson, and brought him up to speed with developments in Nigeria.